pretty people. Welcome to this little old episode of the 280, hosted exclusively by me, your loving, gracious, gratuitous, and moderately greasy host. Now, I'm genuinely grateful that you've decided to join me. I am. But mama ain't raised no fibber. And I gotta admit, I got a bone to pick with those of you listening that know me in the real world. Know me in a non-computerized manner. My first episode took me about 8 hours to edit, and roughly 5 of those hours consisted solely of the process of cutting and removing the seemingly infinite instances in which I heard myself utter the words like and genuine hours, as well as some tears along the way, not gonna lie. And the final product was still jam-packed with my little Valley Girl filler words. And as such, I pose a question for those in the audience that I interact with daily in the real world. You know, the real one with like grass and trees and leaves and homework and shit. The one where I get a little shaky after my 3rd cup of coffee, not the fake cyber one where my self-esteem and self-respect go to die. Of those real world folks who cross paths with real world me, I am curious to know when y'all were planning on informing me that I had picked up these Kardashian-ass speech patterns. Seriously, in that first episode, it was like I was possessed by a Malibu trophy wife. Every 4th word out of my godforsaken mouth was one of those damn filler words. It was so painful to listen back to. My guest was killing it, and I'm just there like, so, apparently your daddy was like a Muslim or whatever, and your mom was like a Christian. Like that was probably so weird for you, right? I was insufferable. I'll admit it. But good news. I am just the right amount of self-conscious that I will now be hyper-fixating on reducing my usage of said fillers. And you know, there's nowhere to go but up. Anyways, I'm actually not here to recap my first episode. I have got a brand new little doozy of an episode for you today. Most of y'all don't know me quite well enough to know this, so allow me to be the first to inform you. I am a confrontational and mischievous little bitch boy. I always have been. And while I've undoubtedly mellowed over the last few years, it remains an unavoidable, inevitable aspect of the Carson Buller experience. Now, those personality traits aren't unique to me, and they're not even all that interesting to me anymore, honestly. But what is interesting is their origin. I've always wondered about their origin. I'm not a scientist by any means. In fact, science was one of my main sleeping classes in high school, and I don't know jack shit about psychology. So I don't know if my instigating tendencies are innate and genetic or simply molded by the environments that all the previous iterations of me have traversed, or even if it's a concoction of a tad bit of both. I am ignorant regardless. But my uneducated guess has led me to the assumption that childhood experience is responsible for the vast majority of personality development. I know, fucking groundbreaking. I know that's blatantly obvious in regards to trauma, but my instinct is that it's much deeper than that. Obviously, our big life events are big life events for a reason. But I feel like we're far too prone to overlooking the character development that appears in the mundane. And I also know that this podcast format would very easily allow me to bring on an actual scientist to explain what we actually know of the human psyche to date. But why go through all that hassle when I could just talk about it with my little sister's roommate's best friend? So, welcome, y'all, to the 280. I hope you enjoy your time here. Thank you for coming back for seconds, and thanks in advance for coming back for thirds.
My cousin is a left-handed person. He's like 6'9".
That's
like
that's too much.
extremely tall, 6'9", 6'11". He has to order his pants online.
I mean, I do too.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think that's exclusive to 6'9" people.
Huh.
I
Do
feel
most
like- I
guys
feel like a
just
lot-
like order pants online?
I think a lot of people order pants online.
I feel
and
like
that's kind of how like online shopping works.
See, no, I can't order pants online.
Hold on.
ASMR.
Oh my god. It's my favorite sound in the world. I love it so much. I would genuinely sit in my bed for 20 minutes at a time staring at the ceiling, trying to perfect mimicking that exact sound. I'll
Really?
sit in my bed and sometimes I got it, sometimes I just don't. I don't know, it's such a difficult like I can't.
No, I just sit in my bed and talk to myself. Like I don't mimic sounds. I sit there and talk to myself like I'm crazy.
I do kind of, in a sense. I don't full on like have conversation. No, okay, I do, but it's not like I talk to myself and then I respond back to myself.
Mm-hmm.
It's that when I am talking to myself, it's because I am talking to a separate character in a scenario that I'm imagining. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I'm just imagining a scenario where I am in the fucking scenario as imagination works.
Yes.
Which is really normal.
I do
But
that
I
when
also-
I'm angry.
Yeah, like
I'm fighting with somebody in my
you
head.
mean going through what you should have said,
Oh yeah, like in the
what you
shower.
wish you would have said.
You just start yelling at people in the
I
shower.
am- I don't know. Honestly, I have
Throwing hands.
the opposite problem because I'm very quick and very mean
Mhm.
about it. So I go over like, goddamn, maybe I like probably would have been better if I didn't like get that out.
Oh really?
Yeah, no, because I get like I'm pretty fucking good
Mhm.
when I get going, but it's like good in the sense of shitty.
Yeah.
I'm very good at being shitty.
Yeah.
It's kind of my natural state. I am
You-
my resting state is jackass.
Like you're gonna get your point across over. You seem like the person.
Yeah, I mean that's a nice way to put it. A more accurate way to put it would be dick.
Yeah. 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 I can see that. Just a little bit though.
I'm also very nice though. It's a
Yeah,
weird
you're
duality.
a nice person, but
I
like
love duality.
you're gonna sit here and like turn somebody's emotions against them. Like
oh, I'm a gaslighter at heart.
oh
for
yeah,
sure.
for sure. Like you're that person. You're like somebody has these feelings. You're like no, but like this and this and this.
My type of gaslighting is more of a quite literally convince you of events that never happened whatsoever. And I do it a lot to children, but I find it way more entertaining when I do it
You're
to
so wrong for that.
I find it way more entertaining when I'm able to pull it off with an adult. So I try to do it to adults a lot, and I always do it with really little things.
Is it entertaining to you?
Too. Well,
Is that why, or
it
is it just like
depends.
a?
It depends on the situation because it's not something that if they believed it, it would be a genuine issue.
Mm-hmm.
It's like gaslighting in the sense of like I could convince somebody that I can't think of a good example. Why would you put me on the spot like that?
Convince
Now I have to
somebody
edit that out.
that frogs walk on water or something. Like that you
I
walked
feel like
on
you would
water or
know.
something.
No, it can't be too blatant. It's like okay, like an actually accurate specific example would be like I could convince somebody that they could use the leaves just straight off of a tree to make a tea. And
Yes.
you'll almost never be
Yes.
in a situation where you would have to dispel that.
I think that
And
would
so
be
you would just believe
funny.
it, and then that or for instance, I think I'm gonna have actually I'm not gonna say that because I put it in my opening, but okay, I have 2 children gaslighting stories. I'm gonna tell you the one that didn't make it
Oh,
into
no.
into the opening.
Okay.
I convinced a 13-year-old child that Joe Biden had a twin brother that was vice president.
Oh.
That they were like 2 separate entities.
Oh no.
Like he wasn't Obama's vice president. I convinced them that there's John and Joe Biden.
This child.
Yeah.
And they believed it?
Yeah, my first instinct when somebody says something outlandish to me is to Google it, and almost nobody else has that instinct, and I find that incredulous because it's so easy to catch somebody in a gaslighting state,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm good enough that they don't feel like they have to Google it. Because I have no reason to lie about John Biden.
You're like that one person that would go around Walmart asking people questions like, did you know that, like you'd ask people what they would pick between. Would you pick brownies over cookies?
I hate talking to strangers in that
Really?
capacity, actually. For the journalism assignment that I had, where I had to go talk to 3 separate strangers, I was walking around the student union for, I think, 2 to 3 hours trying to, one, find somebody who wasn't like fully engulfed in whatever screen they had.
Mm-hmm.
So they weren't like 2 headphones in the ear watching some like random ass anime. There's a
Yeah.
lot of anime watching by people who are alone in cafeterias.
Yeah.
And I think there's a correlation between watching anime and
And
being
being
alone.
alone. Yeah.
For sure.
Watches anime. She's trying to get me into it.
There are some that are solid. I like One Punch Man a lot because it
My-
knows that it's cornball shit.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
See, my little sister's into it too. Like, I sit
Yeah.
here and, like, I question, is it really as weird as people make it out to be? Or is it,
Some of it
or is there just a stigma behind it?
I don't think it's a stigma. I think it is the difference between cultures, and our culture is significantly less corny in a lot of our
shows.
media. Or if it is corny, it's like specifically geared as a kid's show.
Yeah. Yeah. Most of those jokes go to
Most.
kids.
Yeah. Like we have some corny stuff, but in America, the adult corny stuff is also wildly raunchy.
They make it dirty.
It's so inappropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
like-
is kind
I
of
don't
hard
know, I
to
like
do.
it.
Like,
I really
watch with
do.
your family.
Well, I don't watch a lot of shows with my family. You could always watch like teen soaps with your family.
Oh, yeah.
If you need a family show. I don't know why you would at this stage. I feel like I'm past the family
Now,
watching
it's fine.
TV portion.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think I would, period. Like, I don't think I'd have a
Watch
show
TV
that I
with
would
your
watch
family?
with my family.
See, when I go home to my mom's, we eat dinner and we watch TV. Me and my sister and my mom.
What TV show, though?
We'll watch anything. Like, we'll watch Schitt's Creek.
I fucking love Schitt's Creek.
Or,
I'm not
like-
gonna lie.
Like, we'll turn on just random shows. But, like, my mom can't stand anything scary at all. Like, she's very Christian.
Mm-hmm.
But, so, like, if it has too much cussing or if it has magic in it, she's like, turn it off.
Oh,
Like,
that's
and
such
then
a boring.
scary.
I'm so sorry, but
Mm.
that's such a boring type of Christianity.
yeah.
Convincing yourself that you can't absorb fantastical content.
Yeah. I'm like, Mom, come on.
That's I know, like that. The book quite literally starts with like cunning snake in a tree.
Mm-hmm.
You think you could give a little, you know? Okay, let's chew on some of the meat of the podcast.
Okay.
That was a horrible transition.
Oh, yeah.
I'm keeping it in though. That
Okay.
You are here with me today because I have been lucky enough to get the chance to watch you nurture your own relationships in real time.
Okay.
More specifically, you're here because you fill what I consider to be an integral role in every friend group, and especially female friend groups.
Yeah.
Very much a mom friend.
Yep.
Very much a mom friend. And I am, first and foremost, I am curious about the journey that shapes people into mom friends, because I think mom friends fucking rock. I really do. And I don't know if that's just because I like moms. Like I like my mom.
Are you
I like
a
other
mama's boy?
people's moms. I'm not super intense about it. I mean, I
Mhm.
like my mom.
You know how
I
to
don't.
do your laundry.
I also
though?
like don't answer.
and dishes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even answer all of her texts, and that's not like
Really?
I don't answer anybody's text though.
That's
That's
okay,
not.
me either.
It's not a purposeful thing. I just straight up. Yeah, no. Were you always a mom friend like that? That type of manic, let me fold your clothes while we watch Netflix
Oh,
type of person, or is that something you
no.
developed over time as you grew into your womanhood?
Oh, you made that sound so weird.
Seductive, right?
No, I haven't always been the mom friend. I used to be actually like when I lived at my dad's with my stepmom, my room was constantly dirty. Like I was constantly like all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And like my little sister, she would have her room clean. And it used to get to a point where like my stepmom would come in my room and clean my whole room for me. But then she'd start to read my journals. Yeah. So then it like kicked in. It was like, maybe I need to like start getting my shit together.
So that specific type of, you're not even just a normal, casual old mom friend, like schedule where the group goes, like coordinate the group plans type of thing. Your specific type of mom friendship is very OCD
Oh,
and
yeah.
genuinely manic. So is it OCD because it's almost reclaiming that control that you feel was ripped from you in that
Yes.
invasion of privacy?
And it's also like it's that and the fact that like right now I don't have like a set place to stay, you know, like I've been staying with Michaela and everything. That's my best friend. But like I don't have any boundaries. Like I don't have any structure. So it's like I'm pushing myself to have the structure with everybody else. Does that make sense?
No, I've absolutely tried to do that. I had a portion this summer of, it wasn't this summer, it was last summer, where I didn't have anything to specifically wake up early for.
Mm-hmm.
I had no reason to, because the first month after I went home from my first year of college, by the way, it was right after when COVID hit, and it was dog shit.
Ew.
Like it was, I think it might have genuinely been, 18 was the worst year of my life.
Yeah.
And it is not even close. 18 is I don't want to say it's the closest. It is the second closest I've come to killing myself.
Really?
And I don't mean that in like a genuinely suicidal, like hung up a noose and like was ready for it. I mean it in the sense of like every day I was like, okay, I'm not gonna force myself into this, because I know it takes what I think I'm feeling and it throws it directly into the psyche of a decent fucking chunk of people. And so I would essentially be multiplying that pain, and I don't feel like that's just.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I don't know if I'm brave enough to do it either way.
Yeah.
Because that shit's freaky. But
it's scary to.
it was at the point where, like, I mean, if I have to get into a car accident, I mean, like, let the.
You're like, I wouldn't be too mad.
I mean, if there hypothetically was a car flying in my lane, 80 miles per hour in the
You're like, well,
impending direction of my own car, like, so shall it be.
Yep. You're like, I'm gone. I mean,
no, absolutely. And so when I got home for the very first month, I was waking up regularly at like 7, or even though I was going to bed super late too, I was going to bed at like 1 or 2. I would wake up at 7. I would make some tea or some shit. And the girls were all in high school, so they still were getting ready and stuff and leaving at about that time. And then after they left, I would make my tea, like loaded up with honey, and I would watch between like 4 to 5 episodes of BoJack Horseman.
Oh,
which
my God.
I don't know if you've seen that show. Not great for like mentally struggling people. Not great at all. Because here's the thing, everybody relates to that dickhead horse, whether they want to admit it or not. But the discourse surrounding that horse, because he's so blatantly like evil, if you relate to him at all of the discourse is like, there's no way you could relate to him. He's such a like blatantly egotistical, narcissistic, just completely thoughtless.
And then it puts you in that state of mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You kind of project that a horse's struggles onto yourself.
Yep. Hey, but at least you had tea.
It was good tea.
It was good tea.
It was like a vanilla honey one, and then I would add
Ooh,
some. I don't know what the difference between agave and honey is. It's very similar,
agave.
but we had agave.
Agave, I think it's like much less like it's low. Let me restart. It's lower in calories. So like
I don't need. I mean, okay, I was on a weight loss kick then.
it's a substitute.
My
for
weight
honey.
loss kick has overstayed its welcome.
Oh,
I am.
so it just keeps going down.
I am so light, right? I think I'm almost 15 pounds lighter than when I graduated high school.
That was me when I was with Noah. I gained weight, but then we broke up and I lost 20 pounds and I can't seem to get it back up.
How much weight did you ever have like a chubby phase?
Highest I went was 150.
So no.
No.
I feel you because I had a chubby phase. I didn't have like a genuinely like pudgy phase. So it was relatively easy to get back down to normal, but I didn't get there through healthy means. Like I think the highest I've ever been was around 170.
Oh, really?
I'm 135 right now.
We weigh the same.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like it's fluctuating.
Yeah, I would say mine is fluctuating, but there is a very clear trend and it is not upward.
Oh, it's downward.
I have not
Well,
gained
you're also
more
in
than
college.
2 pounds yeah, but I'm not even doing like coke. So I have no. Well, that's usually the drugs that gets
you
people
lose-
narrowed down.
That
I'm
and,
on
like,
no
Molly.
I'm on no skinnying drugs unless Vyvanse does something. I don't think so. I'm not on Molly.
Should I? I've thought about doing Molly, just to be like skinnier.
Does Molly make you skinnier? I thought Molly was the one where
Molly's
you
like the
you
sex
take it and
drug
you
or
lay around.
something.
Yeah, you take it and you like lay around in what they call cuddle puddles, and it doesn't even have to be
What?
sexual. You're just like you and other Molly
Members.
filled people lathered over each other.
What?
And it's yeah.
Me and Michaela.
You know how? Do you know how I learned what a cuddle puddle was?
What?
I
Did
heard-
you do it?
No.
Carson.
I heard no, I've never tried Molly. I heard a story about Elon Musk's dork ass doing it. And I thought it was really funny imagining him on Molly cuz like
Mhm.
ew. It like hit his specific accent on Molly.
Mhm.
That idea is really funny to me. 2, the idea of his goofy ass South
On Molly.
Australian accent
Mhm.
while he's like, this is great. Rub my stomach. Like, fucking.
That's funny.
And he goes full throttle. I think it's a state in between horny and whatever it is when you go to watch a movie with the person you're dating. I think it's directly in between those two states. That being said, I've
I would
also never been
definitely-
horny in a movie theater.
Really?
Yeah.
My first kiss was in a movie theater.
I've never even had a full on makeout session in a theater. I went with her once.
Ooh.
I feel like you and I have gone over the fact that I've only had like one love as
Mhm.
of right now.
Yeah.
And we fell in love at a movie theater and we fell in love at the same fucking time. And I know that because we talked about it after and we could both like
Aw.
we both physically felt the exact
Wait,
same
that's
thing.
so cute.
It was no, shut the fuck up. It was like a weird lower back tingle.
Aw.
No, shut up.
I
Don't
remember.
aw. I don't want happy memories.
No happy.
No, stoic. I'm
Well,
stoic.
I mean, it's good. Like when you have kids, you can tell them you're like, this is how my
I
first
don't-
love went.
I don't know. I don't know if I'll interact with my kids that much because I don't want any on purpose.
You don't want any kids on purpose?
No,
Really?
that seems.
So you're gonna be a
yeah.
dad who
I'm
like,
not-
stays
okay.
out of your kids' lives.
Okay.
You're gonna be the dad
was
who
not-
goes to get milk and doesn't come back.
Okay, you took that too serious. I'll have to edit it out. No, I do. I don't know if I want to. I don't know if I want to make a person because I don't feel good about it because I don't like the fact that I was made. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, I don't like being here. I can't make another thing that might have my,
feelings, your thoughts.
it might go into the world with the same mental outline as me. So it might not end up with the same conclusions, but there's a very real chance that it will end up perceiving a lot of worldly things. Even if they're different to what I was exposed to, it will end up perceiving a lot of worldly things in a similar manner that I do. And
So,
I don't feel good about that.
so do you think it has anything to do with growing up at home, like anything that has to do with life at home, like why you think the way you do, or do you think it's all genetic?
Almost none of it is genetic, I don't think. I think there's certain issues that are genetic, and there's, I don't know, some of personality could be, because I feel like there are definitely,
So make it
there are
to where your
traits
kid
that are
has a
similar.
good family foundation.
Well,
Like,
even if
if you do have a kid, don't give them a foundation to where it's like they can be fucked over.
well, you can build a shitty house on a good foundation. You know, childhood is so little of what life is.
Yes.
And I mean, children don't even enjoy all of childhood. Teen years are famous
I
for
hated
angst, even if they're not way worse.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, how many good years do you have? Because you don't remember the first 3 whatsoever. You might as well just be a sentient marshmallow.
I mean, when babies have birthdays, why do they give them birthday parties?
Well, I think it's the same reason that you like give dogs sweaters.
Just for the parental.
I mean, we don't truly give a shit about the baby. We like watching its reaction.
Yeah. Like you don't
And
care.
that's the reason for giving
the
the
baby's
dog
not going to
sweaters,
remember
too.
that.
No, not at all.
No, they're not going to have a memory of it.
Baby's probably gonna get sick from the cake. Very likely.
You're going to
And
dogs
dogs
they have the
fucking
shits later on.
dogs
you
hate
gotta deal with
sweaters
it.
too. Dogs despise sweaters.
I mean, only thing you get from it is a video to show your kid when they're older and be like, yeah, this was your second birthday.
Yeah, it's scrapbooking purposes. We've delved very lightly into the mom friend aspect. I think it's fair to say that as a mom friend, you're the type to obsess over the needs of your friends. Sometimes in spite of your own needs.
Yeah.
Why is it so damn hard to say no to people?
I'm scared of what a person will think of me. Like, I'm scared that if I tell somebody no...
Stop kicking the table.
I'm sorry. I'm scared that, like, if I were to tell somebody no, then they're not going to like me anymore.
Well, yeah, they probably won't.
I know.
No,
but
I'm not being serious.
Oh,
Don't not take that.
No, I take it, like, seriously. Like, it scares me because, like...
Ow. Fuck.
Oh, don't chip your tooth.
That hurt. Did I?
No. I chipped my tooth. Look.
I get a lot of little chips. I'm actually really scared of chipping my teeth, and it happens a lot.
My sister chipped her
sucks.
tooth in a gator, like driving a go-kart. Stood up and chipped her tooth.
Mine is always little, or like my teeth are just like flat.
Yeah. I have like vampire teeth.
I have it on one side, but I'm sorry, what were you saying?
I had to get them filed. What were we talking about?
I'm talking about why it's so hard to say no.
Oh, I feel okay. Like if a friend were to ask me to help them, like okay, so say my friend's like sitting on their bed and I'm up and they ask me to grab them something. I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't mind. It's a favor, right? Like I'd ask that. But if it's constant and it's over and over, it's like, oh my God. Okay. You know what? You get up and you get your stuff, right?
Yeah, but you don't say that.
I don't because I'm scared. Because it's also like I'm a people pleaser because I don't know why I'm a people pleaser. I mean, it's just it's how my mom is. My mom's a people pleaser too, I've noticed. And it's just kind of how I grew up, just to be kind. And I guess like being kind I'm a people pleaser because I try to be kind.
So is it more based in that fear or of the caring of others?
It's both. Some people it's fear, some people it's caring. Sometimes fear turns into caring. Like for Milan, at first I was scared of her because she is a spunky girl, you know,
Yeah,
very
that's
pretty, and it's just kind of like somebody asks something of you and you're like, oh, I deliver. You're like, oh crap, yeah, sure, you know,
yeah.
because you don't want them to dislike you. It's like I strive to be liked, but recently it's like I just do it for her because, you know, she's my friend and I care for her. But also,
I don't think the strive to be liked. I think people want to be liked. I don't think that specific striving and that specific fear of being disliked is as normal as you think it is.
oh,
I'm gonna be a little bold. I'm not saying it's abnormal. I'm saying it's not super widespread because I think I'm about to be very intrusive with this question.
okay, go.
Okay. I think it's because you're a child of divorce.
I am.
And I think it's because the specific divorce was one where, from what I understand, your parents were like mortal fucking enemies. Like
They were.
bad,
They
like
really were.
Taylor and Kanye type enemy, or I guess Kanye and Jews type enemies now.
Batshit crazy. That's how they are.
I am curious
With each
how
other.
how did we get here? How did they get there? What went down?
Okay, that is a whole story. Uh, like, you want me to start from the beginning?
I mean, might as well.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know what else you'd be doing.
Well, okay, so in the beginning, it was like
God made light.
God made light. My mother and father. Let me just start with their beginning.
Yeah.
You know, I've never actually talked about how they met. I've never asked.
You don't know?
I don't know. I just know they fell in love and they were together for like 10 years.
They probably met in like a bar fight. Imagine.
No, my mom's a really sweet person. She was a good person.
Well, I'm not saying she was fighting him.
Oh.
That'd be a little more
Breaking
illegal.
up a bar fight?
It was like a for her honor type of bar fight.
Oh.
Like very Patrick Swayze.
He's protecting her.
No, for sure.
Ooh. Crazy love story. But my dad and my mom get together. They're together for like 10 years. And from what I've heard, he goes on to this business trip. And there's a lady he's working with that my mother doesn't like.
I've seen this story on Reddit.
Yeah. And so she's like,
do you get those? I'm so sorry to interrupt, but do you get those hyper specific like Subway Surfer TikTok things where they'll compete?
Yep.
I got into them like
specific.
bad. I had a very specific day where I was annoyed by them, so I did that thing where you press not interested a bunch of times, so it gets off your your feed.
Yeah.
I had I counted 14 of those videos in a row, and I was like,
gosh.
what if I become?
The universe was trying to tell you something.
Yeah, it's that I'm a fucking dork. That's it. Okay, continue. Business trip, lady, father.
So, my mom doesn't like this chick that he's with.
I have a feeling that's gonna be a warranted dislike.
Oh yeah. So, they used to be friends, my mother and this lady.
Mm-hmm.
But they're like, they were acquaintances, friends, whatever. Not anymore. She doesn't like her. I don't know the beef from it, but there was beef.
It's probably that they both shared the beef. That's probably the beef.
So my dad goes on this quote unquote business trip, whatever, with this chick. And my mom's like, no, you're cheating. No, you're cheating. Like, she's a very petty person.
Wait, dated he?
I assume so.
Okay.
I assume so. But like, well, I can't sit still. I'm so sorry. I'm a very fidgety person.
Just scoot your chair back a little.
Scoot back a little and scoot up like this.
Or like sit it aside and then you can.
There we go. Like that. Much better.
I kicked the table. Okay.
But like, so he goes on this business trip and mom's back at home And so she's good friends with his best friend, right?
Yep.
And it's this like little Mexican guy, you know, she is friends with him. And so she goes out with him, I guess, has sex with him, gets pregnant. My dad comes back from this business trip, you know, gives birth to my sister.
Your dad gives birth?
No, yeah, my dad gives birth.
Okay. Just checking.
My mom gives birth to my sister, and you know, like 3 years down the line they have me. And he's like, they don't really look alike. Like something's off. And so they get a test on us to tell like who if we're from the same person, and we're not. And so Christmas Day my dad leaves.
Oh.
Yep. And I found a video on my mom's, like, an old camera. It was like a flip camera.
Of the making of your sister?
Oh. No, I've seen one of those before. It's disgusting.
Of your mom?
Not my mom and my dad, but my mom and like one of her husbands at the time. And then I've seen one of my stepmom.
Oh, both?
Yeah.
Were you like seeking them out?
No, I was not.
Are you lying?
No.
Okay.
When I was younger, me and my sister found something and we confronted my mom about it. My older sister did. I remember being so innocent. It was just kind of like, I don't know what that means, but you know, it was awkward. But anyway, so dad leaves us, and he goes off and gets with this lady who he had that business trip with 3 years later, you know, when I was born, and he marries her illegally in a different state.
2 wives?
Mm-hmm.
How Mormon?
Oh, yeah. So
Let him go.
yeah. So
Brigham Young is smiling down on him.
Well, he divorced him and my mom divorced. And then so you have to have a period of time between a divorce and another marriage.
Mm-hmm.
In like specific states. And in Oklahoma, I think it's like a year. I could be totally wrong.
No, I think there's some. I thought it was more of a.
Are you gonna gaslight me and tell me
No.
that?
I don't know for sure. I mean, I might be wrong. I thought it was a year of separation before you can get the divorce. I
Could
didn't
be.
know there was anything after it.
I don't know. But I know it was illegally, and he got with her, and not long after my little sister's born. And it kind of proves that he was cheating on my mother with her because she got pregnant. And it was in the meantime when he was still going through a divorce with my mom or something like that.
Do you think he might have got with her out of spite though? Do you think it's possible?
Could have been, but I mean, he's
like he
been with
wasn't
this bitch
cheating
for
and then he got
forever.
mad?
I don't know. Well, okay, so my stepmom, she was in an abusive relationship.
So that's not stepmom. That's separate woman.
This
Woman that he cheated with did not become stepmom.
She did. She's my
Oh,
stepmom
okay.
now.
Okay.
Yeah. She
I love a good girl boss story.
Oh yeah. She was in an abusive relationship with a guy and married to him. And I remember she told me that they divorced too, and my dad came and stayed with her and got her out of like that whole house and montage, whatever.
Montage.
Yeah. So that's, from what I understand, that's how that whole story went. And then later on they had my littlest sister. So I have 3 sisters. But
so we both have 3 sisters.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like my oldest sister, she is adopted from my dad on the birth certificate, but she doesn't, like, he's her real dad. We say he's her real dad because her biological dad wasn't ever there. Like he wasn't there for her. So my dad basically adopted her, and like she's his. Like he raised her, you know, raised her, quote unquote. He wasn't really ever there. So from that we grow up, and me and my older sister live with my mom in Oklahoma City, and my 2 little sisters live with my dad and my stepmom in Tulsa. And
You live everywhere.
oh yeah. So every other weekend we'd go see my dad, and my dad would drop us off at our nene's house. And so we never really saw our dad because he was staying with Jamie, or he was spending time with Jamie. So I kind of despised him for that, or despised Jamie in a way for that, because she took time away from me with my dad, which, you know, and my little sisters, because they spent time with my dad while me and my older sister were at my nene's, because it was that perfect little family over there. It felt like.
We both have 3 sisters, so I feel like in some sense there's got to be somewhat of a similar experience, even if it's just like basic girl shit. So oh my god,
That was so funny.
okay, that was a
Make
toy.
that the intro.
No, I'm cutting that out because that did not sound like a toy and they can't see anything. Okay, first of all, rank them from favorite to least favorite. No, I'm kidding. That's horrible.
Oh, I was like, oh my gosh, you can't make me do that.
No, real talk. I have noticed a prominent theme in my own experience growing up with 3 lady siblings and angry ass parents. I've noticed in my own life that, first of all, as an older sibling, I feel like I've subconsciously developed certain techniques to counteract my parents' less desirable tendencies to sort of reduce any effect that they would have on my sisters. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And
So, like, you're
I feel
protecting them in a way.
somewhat, yeah. And those effects very much rippled into my non-familial relationships. For instance, when I was a tiny little guy, I developed a real knack, like a genuine talent for shifting their anger away from my sisters to myself. So whenever my parents were in the mood for handing out ass whippings,
Mm-hmm.
I would take the
The
blows
blame.
instead of the girls because I was bigger, I was better equipped for that. It made sense to do that. And that tendency bled hardcore into my school life. I spent the vast majority of my elementary years as a dedicated troublemaker as a result.
Oh.
You know, I got swats multiple times. I got suspended twice, although I kind of swerved my way out of the second one. Like, I don't even think my parents ever found out. I did get suspended twice.
Really?
It wasn't just one.
I
And then I
wouldn't
didn't end up serving the
think
suspension.
of you as a kid to be like that in elementary school.
Yeah. I constantly was, my most common one was I was constantly sent to the corner or to some section of the wall while other kids were playing at recess, and they'd make me turn around and they'd make me stare at the wall for like 30 to 45 minutes at a time while the
They
other kids were
really
playing.
subject
In one of my
kids.
music classes, I sat in the corner for I think 3 months straight and I wasn't allowed to participate. I would literally I was just stuck in the corner and I would just
Aw.
sit there while they did the other stuff. Authoritative figures in my life were seemingly dedicated to breaking my spirit and stifling my
Mhm.
personality. But I also refused to let it work because in my mind, I was absorbing the blows so that those authorities wouldn't have the energy to inflict the same sort of pain onto other kids.
Mm-hmm.
Or at the very least, I could entertain people through my suffering.
Yep. Make people laugh through your pain.
Yeah, I thought if I could entertain my suffering peers, if only for a fucking moment,
you became the clown of the house.
it was worth it. And in that same vein, do you think your OCD traits, your propensity to obsess over others, all of that jazz, and this overwhelming urge to be Jordan second, friends first, how much of that stems from the manner in which adolescent you had to learn to soften the blow of your parents' behavior for your siblings?
I did that a lot, but also I was also the one who got my little sisters in trouble.
Oh, boo.
I remember.
Ooh.
But like, okay, so when I was young, it was like, hey, come with me, we're gonna spit off the balcony.
Sure.
So me and my little sister
We
have
were
a
actually
spitting
pretty.
contest.
We were a lot worse than that. We were genuinely violent for a bit.
Oh
There-
yeah, me.
Do you want to hear the most insane? Probably the most insane story you're gonna hear all the time. Like there is a very real reality in which me and my siblings
Oh
um, enter a path in which we become serial killers.
no.
There was a summer where we're very creative people. We were very smart, and we were raised on violence
Okay.
and that sort of it wasn't a big thing. It was a normal thing. It wasn't even like a special occasion, like bad thing. Like it was just so normalized.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the games that we played was we played baseball right next to our house. We just used our little driveway as the basis, but instead of a ball, we used a frog.
What? You used a frog? You
And
batter up a frog?
We actually played this game with my cousin too. My older cousin, who was she's not way older, but she's like 3 to 4 years older.
Mhm.
And we were adolescent enough that it I feel comfortable with placing the blame on her, because even though I know it wasn't fully her idea, I can. And the way that frog
Poor thing.
went out was I got quite the swing, man. So
Carson.
I don't know if Jenner was pitching, but there was a little like soft pitch style, just a very light tossing of the frog. I knock myself a homer. The frog lands on the roof on its back.
Oh.
And the way that it dies is it lays there and it gets cooked by the sun.
You're an asshole. You're an asshole.
of like weeks, and frog remnants were on the roof for the better part of
Can we have frog legs for dinner?
multiple months. That's the thing, though. Those creatures disgusted me so bad that I genuinely wouldn't consider eating their legs.
Would you ever? You wouldn't ever try frog legs?
I wouldn't then. I probably would now.
I would try
But
it.
frogs disgusted me so bad that I couldn't eat green beans for a long time because they were the same shade. And like when
green.
especially like I remember we watched Princess and the Frog on a school trip. We used to have this thing where elementary kids would they'd go to a movie around Christmas time.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw like there was some movie about a rat or a mouse it was like something.
Oh, no,
like I don't remember what it was.
Mm-hmm.
We watched that. We watched I think Frozen was one of them. I think
Mhm.
Frozen was the very last one I had because I think it was in 6th grade when Frozen came out. And one of them was Princess and the Frog. And we got back from that school trip and we had like we had genuinely good cafeteria food. I don't know if that's a small school thing or it was just specifically the culture of where I'm from, but there was green beans were a part of that meal. And I remember I like green beans because solid ass vegetable.
They're good.
But I tried to, I couldn't, like I put them in my mouth and it was making me gag.
Because you were thinking about frogs.
Yeah, and not even my baseball frogs.
I've heard frogs taste like chicken.
You know, I try not to eat live animals, so I wouldn't know.
Are you saying you're going vegan?
No, I'm saying I try not to take bites out of frogs.
Carson. Vegan? Really?
I can't cook well enough to do that.
I love to cook.
I think I'm technically vegan in the sense that Taco Bell doesn't serve real meat.
Oh.
But I don't think I could.
Do they really? They don't actually serve real meat?
It feels blasphemous to claim that they do because that shit
McDonald's.
is weird. McDonald's, we just know.
It's not actually real.
I feel like I'm starting to hear how tired my voice is getting from not sleeping at all. Because I feel like my tone of voice is like shifted. And
Much lower.
One part of recording these episodes too is I'm kind of scared by how often my accent changes depending on who I'm talking
accent.
to.
How often what accent
No,
changes?
that's not what I'm talking about. But I'll like,
oh Lord.
I have very specific accents that I do depending on who I'm talking to, and I didn't realize it because I don't do it on purpose.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know where that comes from.
See, that's me, but I feel like it's that with personalities. That has to do with another pleasing thing. Like pleasing people, my personality changes
Yeah.
with different people.
Yeah, they have a word for that. It's called manipulation.
Am I a manipulative bitch?
Oh, for sure. You're going full American Psycho.
Jordan,
Patricia Bateman over here.
here's my title. Jordan, the manipulative bitch. In caps.
Oh my God, I'm so tired. Okay, so jackass parents.
Jackass parents.
Grandma was worse.
Yeah.
What was she? What? I want to hear some of these monstrosities.
So in 5th grade, me and my sister decide we want to move with my dad because we didn't see my dad much and we wanted to get to know our sisters more. I wanted to dance. I wanted to be a ballerina, whatever.
Yeah, same.
And Dad's like, I can give you that life.
Mm-hmm.
You wanted to be a ballerina?
Yeah, I love that shit.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, pointed toes and fucking plies and
Really?
Yeah, no. Super big ballerina fan. Love the ballet. Shout out to the Nutcracker.
That's funny.
Do you see what I'm talking about when I say I'm good at gaslighting?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, right?
No. Dang. I feel like a total dumbass. Okay. Back to the story.
Okay. Go. I'm sorry.
So 5th grade, we go through court and I'm not allowed to see my mom for like a month because my grandma wouldn't show up to court because my grandma
Died.
she was abusive. Later on she dies. We'll get to that later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of what grandmas do in my experience.
Yeah, they just let
Mine
drop
was
dead and let.
I think mine were solid. I only knew one of them. She was really dope. She was very
Aw.
nice.
And then
probably
she
one of the
died.
nicest
That
people I met.
sucks.
Yeah, she died kind of recently. One of them I didn't know at all.
Oh,
Yeah,
I used to
I
have
heard
a
she was cool.
grandpa. His name was Boots, but
I
the
got
name
one- I got one
Boots,
grandpa
That sounds
left.
so fun. Like I'd want to know
Boots
him.
does sound kind of sick.
I'd want to meet
My
him.
dead one is named Irvin. That's slightly
Irvin.
less sick.
You said Irvin.
Irvin.
So when my grandma finds out that we want to move in with my dad, she goes like all psycho mode, right? She tells my little sister or my older sister Kendall that she's adopted, which at the time she had no clue about. I didn't either. You know, we weren't supposed to know, I guess.
Is it Kendall with one L or two L's?
Two
I
L.
feel like that's integral to the story.
Kendall.
Okay, you're welcome for those wondering.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead.
And Jordan, Jordan.
Yeah.
Jordan and Kendall.
I was expecting a Y. You have that vibe.
I wish. It'd be so much prettier. I feel like the
No.
Y just suits me.
Jordans with Ys suck.
Oh, really?
Soulless. A soulless people.
I feel like girls, Jordans of color, get the Y. Like they just have that pizzazz.
No,
with
don't
them.
say that because you're making what I said sound racist now. And I was
Oh.
definitely picturing a white woman when I said that.
Ow.
No, don't attribute that to me. It's like, oh, so you hate the brown
Carson, are you
Jordans.
racist?
No, for sure.
Very.
Yeah. No, I'm super I'm super worried about it.
So from there, my grandma finding out, she tells my sister that she's adopted, and they get in this huge fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it comes around where I get in it because I'm trying to help my older sister because we were always in it to win it. Like us two, we were together. You see me, you see her, right?
Yeah.
And so it turns out where like my grandma says something and I talk back and she slaps me in the face. And I was going through this phase where my mom's like, if anybody slaps you, you slap them back. So I I take my hand and I just slapped my grandma, right? Slapped my grandma.
Yeah.
So she slaps me back again. And I hit her back again. So it becomes a fight, right?
Yeah.
And she grabs me by my hair. Like
Mm-hmm.
the end of my hair, like the very back of my head. Like the place where it hurts.
Yeah.
Grabs me by there and like throws me to the ground.
Like a mom and dog grabbing a puppy.
Yeah. And then drags me to one of the rooms.
So exactly like a mom and dog grabbing a puppy.
Yeah. I was like, oh, crap. And like in the meantime, I'm sitting there like kicking and screaming and like throwing this whole fit.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so Kendall and I are like just totally strung out, you know, crazy, not knowing how to feel, how to act. And, you know, we're kids. And so later on, Mom gets home and the whole slapping thing happened at my grandma's house, but we ended up at my mother's house and we're in the hallway and my mom, I remember we told my mom what happened and she goes up to my grandma and like they have this whole screaming match. Like they start fighting, start yelling at each other and fist fight each other. They start throwing full on punches, like just beating the ever living crap out of each other. And I remember my sister being on one end of the hallway in her room. It was like the doorway of her room. And I was in the other hallway in the doorway of my mom's room. And my mom and my grandma were on top of each other, like rolling over, like beating each other, pulling each other's hair.
Yeah, no, I've seen that video before.
And like my sister's sitting there screaming. And I'm like just standing there staring like, oh, like this is happening. Like, what do I do? I had no reaction. I just stood there. Psychopath. Yeah. So that happened and my dad found out about it. And so my dad wanted a restraining order. There was more to it. My dad wanted a restraining order on her from us, which was one of the only things he ever did, really, that was for us. Like, you know, he's going to sit here and buy stuff, but he can't sit here and, like, hang out with us. It wasn't, like, an actual bond. Anytime we hung out with him, it would have to be on the deck, and he'd be out there drinking with his friends or something like that.
I feel like that's kind of an ideal father-daughter relationship.
Yeah.
You know, you're able to, hey, what's your favorite memory with your dad? When he got a restraining order against my grandma.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But that happened, and I remember I moved in with Dad, me and Kendall did, and I went to a different school. It was in 5th grade, and I was in all my Justice clothing. I had this sparkly skirt on. It was blue and silver.
Did you cop any Bobby Jack?
Bobby Jack?
You remember the monkey?
No.
You know
Curious
Bobby
George?
No.
Who's Bobby Jack?
That's a different monkey.
I was into Curious George.
Bobby Jack was okay, never mind.
You're like, okay, forget it.
You either know Bobby or you don't. It's fine.
You either know George or you don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like, Carson, you made me lose my place.
My bad.
Sushi. You're gonna have to get that out. You're gonna have to cut that out because I couldn't help but say that. So from there, my dad gets a restraining order on my grandma. They're going through court. I'm not allowed to see my mother for like a year because my grandma won't show up to court. So it's like shit on her, my mom, you know?
Yeah.
And through time, my mom ends up moving to Tulsa. And, you know, so we can all be closer together. And, you know, Dad promised he'd stop dipping. He didn't.
That's I feel like that's the grossest addiction.
Oh yeah, it's
Outside of
disgusting.
like the thought of
and the smell.
shooting heroin in between the webbing of my goddamn toes seems more appealing than sticking this like
stepping on a Lego.
fiberglass embedded like tar.
It's the smell. That's one thing I could not ever stand. I'd be in the
Yeah.
truck with him, and he'd spit in a cup, and I'd want to puke. I'm not trying to be all girly girl or nothing, but that's the one thing that.
No, I get it. Smell is a big deal.
Absolutely.
That's why I don't let women pee on me anymore.
Oh, anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, so you mean I could pee on you?
You? Is that a question or an offer? No. I'm sorry. I was on some really weird Twitter threads today, and I've been thinking about people getting peed on a lot.
That is so weird.
Because it is weird. It's so fun. To be clear, that was a joke.
Do people
like,
do
please.
that? Like people do that sexually?
Piss kinks are genuinely real. I talked to I cannot remember who it is. I talked to somebody recently who had a genuine piss kink. It was a friend. It wasn't like a proposition. Because I can't handle that. I can't handle fluids.
Like after or
I think it's during or before. I think it would be like a foreplay type of thing, or maybe a hydration thing.
Like they drink it?
I mean, I don't know. I know it definitely like ends up in
what would happen
mouth
if you drank the
adjacent
pee?
areas. I think it's relatively safe.
To drink pee.
Yeah, I mean, there's some hippie movements where people drink their own pee.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's detox from your body, though. I
Yeah.
would not in a million
Yeah, I mean,
years
it's not
drink
great.
pee.
It tastes better when women do it.
Have you tried it? How do you know?
I need you to keep up.
I
No,
guess, like, I understand now.
It's not something I'm willing to try. But it is something I'm intrigued by just because I don't understand how you get into that.
I don't either. I feel like it's something like if a girl okay, this is very detailed, but when a girl finishes the
Squirt.
yeah,
That's what you're
yeah,
getting
yeah.
into. Yes,
So
I am aware.
that has to do with like pee too.
I think it's mostly pee.
Yeah. And so I feel like
Well,
that's
it's
probably
not. I don't want to say mostly pee, but there's a lot of. I think there's just a lot of the same stuff because, I mean, you only have so much water in your body.
Yeah. But
You're
I
going to be pulling from the same
feel-
areas either way.
I feel like that's like the start of that kink. Like people see
Squirting.
squirting, yeah, and then it's like they're like, oh, I kind of like.
Well, I don't know. Squirting is at least linked to pleasure.
Whereas pee, well, pee could be
That's just
the release.
Congrats, you drank your fucking liter today. Like, there's nothing. I don't know. I don't know if that's like some weird like sub shit. Like, are you like some like weird BDSM? Like you want to get dominated?
Yeah.
Like fucking.
It's like lay down so I can
humiliate
pee
me,
on
piss
you.
on me, and I don't get.
It's like telling
that.
somebody to spit in my face.
Yeah, see, I hate that too. I wouldn't let anybody
No.
spit in my face.
Hell no.
Because I don't like that stuff either way. And even if I did, it would have to be I couldn't spit on some. Yeah, I just don't think I could do
couldn't.
that either way.
Mm-mm.
Because neither side of that sounds appealing. I don't want to spit because fucking gross. I don't want to be spit on because fucking gross.
Yeah. And especially in my hair. If it were to get in my hair.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. I don't like getting stuff on me, which is very convenient from my side because I don't usually. It's okay. Well, I have at least one part that I have to cut out now, so I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Okay. Transition. Super clean transition. As is seemingly the default amongst children with hectic ass home lives, you have been highly attached to the non-blood relationships that you formed in your life, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I want to shift towards those.
Okay.
And specifically the ones you've really latched onto.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to go through a little timeline.
Yep. Okay.
I want to start with the motherfucker that the first, not the first love, but
The movie scene.
mm,
The boy I first kissed.
no, the I want to start with Mr. Virginity Snatcher.
Oh.
I did. Actually, is the first kiss story cute?
It's cute.
Okay, I like cute stories. Let's start with
okay,
that. Let's start with
so
that before we
there is a little
devolve into
boy.
deviancy.
There's a boy, he actually goes here. His name's... I had this big fat crush on him, and I was friends with these 3 girls at the time, and one of these girls had dated him but figured out that she's gay.
Sure.
This was in like 8th grade though. So
When
I
the
don't know.
zest hits, it hits.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm like, I don't know how you would know that at that age. I didn't.
Well, I think you
no shit.
like women.
Me?
No, I think that's kind of how it happens.
Oh.
Like if
Well,
you
yeah.
like women, then you're like, oh, that's a little gay.
You're like, wait a minute.
And I'm doing it. Am I gay?
Well, so I had this big old thing for Isaac, and through passing, he would give me this big old hug, and it was like I had no touch at home, and so like every day, that was like he'd give me this big old hug, and it was like the best hug I'd get. You know, I felt, I don't know, I just had a big old crush on him, right?
So you are the only instance where my hug at has been effective.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at you go.
And
you were the one-hit wonder.
I was one. Yeah. And so so I was friends with these 3 girls. In 8th grade, we got into drinking and we got in trouble. And so I wasn't allowed to see friends for a while. I got everything taken away from me. My door, my everything, phone.
Yeah.
And my first person I'm allowed to see, or like finally I'm allowed to see people. First person I want to see is
Mm-hmm.
And so like I text him and I'm like, hey, I'm back. Like I got my stuff back, and I was pissed at these other girls because they had thrown me under the bus. They're drinking. But him and I go to the movies and we see like King Kong or something stupid like that. And it was like he like immediately like puts his arm around me. And I was like, this is the first time like I'd ever been touched. But I know like now it was just like a horny little boy, 8th grade boy.
Sure. I mean, maybe. I don't know. I feel like as somebody who has come up in that hyper horny, like objectifying culture, and I feel like I'm in the process of devolving out of that. I feel like there were periods in my adolescence where it was very genuine. I feel like that whole objectification, like pornographication of the view of women, I don't think that's natural. I think that's I think that's learned, and I think it's not easily unlearned, but I don't think that's a natural state. I think that's some shit that men need to work through as a whole.
See, I've always thought that a guy thinks like that boys think like that.
Well, that's because there's like a guy system that kind of forces you to think like that. You know what I mean? And it's that same system where you learn that like if you weren't taught it, you would have no reason to believe that women would be meant to be subservient. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's a widespread belief in a lot of households because it's passed down.
Yeah.
Because
sadly.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a system. That's not natural. It's not natural to the idea that you should just ignore women because they're emotional. That's not normal. That's not correct. That's not, honestly, it's not even accurate, because that stems
from... Men are fucking emotional too.
It stems from the idea that men aren't supposed to be emotional, and therefore they can think better. And that is the precise reason why a lot of them cannot think better. Because if you
I feel like that's why the world has a lot of problems it does today.
Arguments stem from, and not even arguments. There are 3 Greek words that are rhetorical appeals. Okay, so it's basically it does apply to arguments. They're the 3 building blocks of persuasion, of basically the use of logic within arguments to try to convince or persuade somebody. And one is ethos, which is basically like authority. One is pathos, which is emotions. Like a third of it is evoking emotions. That is a huge part of persuasion. And then the third is logic, logos. And they have attached themselves to logos like a goddamn parasite.
Yeah.
And they completely neglect, I don't know if they completely neglect ethos. A lot of people just don't have it because there's no reason to respect somebody who is clearly like not mentally stable, because there is a complete absence of pathos. But they're rejecting at least a third of basic means of persuasion.
But they have, I feel like ethos, people who are emotionally...
Ethos is like flaunting intelligence. It's like flaunting status.
They seem to be people who are very attached to the world, very down to earth.
Oh, no.
No?
That is the pathos.
Pathos, okay.
That's the emotional. Ethos is kind of trying to prove your superiority through intellect.
Okay, I was thinking ethos was emotional.
And logos is like a
logical.
Facts don't care about your feelings.
Statistics.
It's actually not that annoying. But if you exclusively use logo, like if you completely reject logos, you're also going to be a fucking moron. You need all 3 for a genuinely good argument.
Yeah. See, I've learned, well, from what I've heard, is men seem to think logically, more financial in going through life, whereas women think more about family needs. They think about...
I don't know if it's financial. I think it's more transactional. And I don't think that's a good thing.
Like women think about family like growing up, like here's what do I want for my life in the future and my family in the future, and growing from that, whereas men are like, in my future I'm going to get a house and I'm going to do this, I'm going to have everything set in this way, so when I have a family.
Those are the systematic bounds.
Yes.
I don't think that individual people fit well within those bounds, and I think that's why you're seeing so much rest, because I think motherhood is genuinely one of the most incredible things that humans can pull off, and women's propensity to care for young and even people who aren't young, just because of that access to empathy, because they didn't force themselves to grow up emotionally stunted. I think that is really incredible. I also don't think they want to be one-track minded at all. I don't think they want what people are trying to force them into. And I think men are the exact same way. And it's hard to admit it, because to admit it, you would have to give up the role that you were given. And men, even though it is harmful, they are put in the position where they, at the very least, can be in power, even if it's in power of a shit system where they cannot fully thrive. You can be super rich and you can be head of your household, but you're gonna be miserable because you're not gonna be able to talk to your wife, and you're not gonna be able to understand the needs of your wife and your children, because they are going to be emotionally healthy. They are going to be emotionally healthy, and you are going to be this robotic, mechanistic shell
asshole
of a person, because you thought you could fully reject a part of yourself in the name of power. You thought you had it
and you didn't.
And you didn't want to seem fruity.
Yep.
You didn't want to seem too feminine. You wanted to
because
be
you're
fucking alpha male. You didn't want to seem low T, and now you are a cunt.
Yeah. Now you sound like you're on steroids.
and you're hurting yourself and you're hurting your family,
Uh-huh.
and
Because
you're
you're
hurt
scared.
because you can't be you. The women are hurt because they can't be them, and your
Mhm.
children are going to fall into the exact same trap until you grow up and quit
Mhm.
it. And I don't understand, especially in such a dominantly Christian culture, how you fall into these, because there are these roles in the Bible. I don't know if I don't think it's fair to say that God outlined it as it should be this and it should be that, because just
Mhm.
because the roles are present in a Bible, I don't think it's like there's a lot of things in the Bible where I don't think they were outlines for how to live current modern life. I think they're in there because that was how it was, and it's a retelling, or it was even necessary in that type of situation. But I don't think everything has to translate to modernity.
Well, okay, so
And
times change
but
in
no, I'm talking about specifically,
society.
I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about is specifically in where the Bible definitively outlines how you're supposed to act is through how God acts within situations
Mhm.
when he's in power, and way with way more emphasis how Jesus acts, and how the Holy Spirit influences people to act,
Mhm.
which is essentially an extension, or not even an extension. It's just another part of the three, same thing but also different, or fucking whatever. In Christianity, which you'd think would be the dominant philosophy, God is very clearly exhibiting paternal and maternal qualities.
Mhm.
God is described in both traditionally masculine ways and traditionally feminine ways. And there's, I don't understand, well, I do understand it, but I understand how we got here. I don't understand why they stuck with that rejection of femininity in the first place. Like I don't understand why that system was in place in the first place, because there's no way it's
Yeah.
been around forever, because we haven't been doing this living in a society thing forever. That's
Mhm.
super recent. I don't think we even had cities I don't think we've had cities for more than like 20,000 years.
Yeah.
Like we were doing tribes very recently in the grand
Yeah.
scheme of things. Yeah.
I know there's a story in the Bible about God and how he splits a loaf of bread, and he's for his people. He's like,
Yeah.
and it'll fill you up. He shares. He's like teaching them, you share whatever, yada yada yada. And it seems like women and men, women are quick to help another person. Most of the time they're quick to help a homeless person. They're like, I want to give to this person, but it's like men are very like, no. Like we don't have enough money for that. Or when sometimes it's just $1, like it's like men have become selfish. But I can't really put that sticker just on men, because
I can. I think that very specific selfishness, and by extension, women's relative lack thereof. Women obviously can be selfish. It's not nearly in the same manner for a lot of them. I think women's caring, their capacity for caring and their capacity for empathy comes because they are essentially forced in the society that they come up in to view themselves as an extension of men and as a carrier of future men
I mean,
and
men,
future women.
women,
And yeah,
if you think about it.
I mean, it's a bit more complicated than that because it derived from a completely different language. But women already have this propensity to see themselves in others, which is just another way of saying empathy. But I feel like it's really hard for a lot of men to see that, because they see themselves as a contribution as their output.
Mm-hmm.
They see themselves as what they do, what they have gotten via the worth that they believe they have provided. So
Mhm.
like making
Did you say
money.
via instead of via?
Yeah, I mean it is via. So
What?
that's
I
probably
say
why.
via.
Well, I mean you can say it, but like
Continue.
you did not try to correct me wrongly. Is it? Hold on. Now via pronunciation. What the hell? I spelled that wrong.
No, it's not via, but rather via.
Okay. Gotta prove me
Okay.
wrong.
You tried to gaslight me for a second there. Good Lord.
Hey, I got you.
No, you didn't, because I
You know
immediately recognized it.
I thought it was via. I thought it was via.
It definitely isn't, but that's okay.
Oh.
It's okay. You can't know everything, you know. I can, but you can't, I guess. Okay. Did you...
Another reason of a man's gotta be right.
Okay. Finish the story.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
That was so funny.
At a movie theater with
Yeah.
a boy,
Um,
exclusively horny, no
I'm
other
gonna go
emotions.
straight into
maybe.
it.
Maybe not. Who knows?
I'm gonna go straight into it. He shoves his tongue down my throat.
For sure.
No remorse.
As the good Lord intended.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
Left no room for Jesus.
Cleaned your teeth.
Oh yeah.
Flossed a bit.
Became a whole like bottom feeder and ate every. It was just ew.
Do you hate tongue, or was it the specific way that he did it? Because I've had people who like refuse to kiss with tongue, and it was weird to get used to, because I feel like it is kind of, I don't know if it's just if that's just an experience thing, like once you know
it's an
that you're
experience
solid,
thing
you
for
shoot
girls.
for it. But like
I feel like
my last lady didn't let me do it at all, which I didn't do it a bunch because she had braces, but like still, I mean, it was weird because I had to consciously like retract.
Are you gonna
Okay, go ahead, I'm sorry.
do the noises? How does it go? But anyway, he like shoves his tongue down my throat, and I'm like, okay, whoa, buddy. I mean, first kiss, right?
Did you say whoa, buddy?
No,
Okay.
I can't say no. I have problems saying
No, I get that. I feel like once I'm in those situations, women kind of have me trapped.
no. Like, I'm like,
Ball is
okay,
in their court.
right? So like we're kissing, and movie ends, and like it just the whole time it's sloppy. I'm just
The movie, or
the kissing.
okay.
It's like
I really
nothing about it I enjoyed.
I'm
nothing.
so sorry, but I
had
really,
slobber on my nose.
Oh. I do really like the idea of sloppy kissing while like 13-year-old Millie Bobby Brown is sprinting away from giant reptiles.
Well, it wasn't really like that. It was like a dog licking your face, making out with you.
Yeah. I don't let
And-
dogs or people lick my face. I hate that. I hate sloppy things.
Well, so the movie ends and I'm like ready to go. And this dude is like, no. One more kiss. Let's kiss more. Let's, this and this. I'm like, no.
Are the lights on at this point?
Yeah. I'm like, I'm
Oh.
ready to go. He's like, no, I want to kiss more. And so like, I'm like, okay, one more kiss. Like, I'll give you one more kiss and I'm going. And he like holds me in and is like fat ass kiss. I'm like, oh God. Right. And so I'm like, okay, bye. He hugs me. It's the hug I like, but I'm already like, oh.
Yeah.
And so I walk straight to the bathroom and I hide in there until my mom comes and picks me up. And I tell my mom and I just bawl my eyes out. I'm like, do I still like this dude? And I still liked the dude after.
Really?
Yeah. Habit. Yeah, I don't know. I still liked the dude after. Oddly enough.
How?
Well, he was a really sweet guy, and he was charming, I guess you could say. The words of which you
Nothing about that seemed charming. Nothing about that story was like,
no, that was
oh,
not
my
charming at
prince.
all. Apparently, he liked me the whole rest of the year,
that I do get.
but I didn't, because I mean, I don't even think he knew that was my first kiss, though.
That was your first. Oh yeah. I knew that.
And yeah, so that was the end of this story with him. But I had liked him for years. He'd liked me for years. We talked for a while. We were in drama together.
For years? You talked for years?
I mean, we knew each other since 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th, all the way up.
Do you mean you don't use talk to mean communicate? Like I mean,
Like we were.
talk.
No, we didn't talk.
Okay.
We were friends. Like, remain
Friends who sloppy kiss
Oh, yeah.
in front of Millie Bobby Brown.
Oh, yeah. For sure. But yeah, that's basically the end of the story with him. But I saw him the other day. He was here. He was singing. And me and Em went to say hi.
Like, hey, gave you a big hug.
Yeah.
Licked your lips.
Yeah. I was like, hey, nice to see you again. And my parents were friends with we were all family friends, and he was over a lot. That's just how that went with him.
Okay.
But
if you consider that a cute story, I have to hear the virginity one.
The virginity one?
Have to.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh, let me just get started with, I had a friend named Emma who, her and I were close. And this will kind of go into the story of Emma too with him.
I got Emma on there.
Well,
she's a little later.
Okay.
You can go now. You can go.
Okay. I was friends with her for a good 3 years, right? Yeah. And we go to like this back to school bash. They have like color wars, water. You do pull-ups somewhere, whatever. You're all hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, there was this boy I think is cute. His name was Caleb. I was like, I invited him to back to school bash, so he should be here. I said, I'll see him here. I was like, I want you to meet him. I really like him. Like, I want to get with him.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay. So current time, he's like doing pull-ups on like this ROTC thing.
As
like,
Caleb's do.
Yeah. And so like, I'm like, hey, Caleb, like, what's up? Hey. And like, we go say hi. And cause I was feeling bold.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you know what? I'm gonna put myself out there. I'm gonna start saying hi to people. I'm gonna be confident. No. She meets him and it's like they're friends and everything. And we meet his friend. And later on, we all decide to go to Texas Roadhouse together. We're like, oh, all four of us, we clicked like that. Let's go get some food.
Yeah.
We go out and get Texas Roadhouse, and it just becomes our group after a while. We hang out, we get high, and Emma, first time I ever got high, Emma got me high at a blacklight party, and I was zooted out the wazoo. Oh,
sure.
My gosh. Oh, I thought I was going to die.
You found out where the wild things were.
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa. I was standing outside at one point and then on the dance floor, middle of the dance floor at another with strobe lights. I was like freaking out. It was crazy. But anyway, back to Caleb. I had a dream one night that her and him, like Emma and Caleb, I had a dream one night that Emma and Caleb kissed in front of my car, and I watched it, and like that they confessed that they liked each other, And so like the next day I went up to her and I was like, you know, I'm getting these dreams, which means something. Like, do you like him? Like, if you do, tell me, you know, like, let me know and I'll be okay with it. Just let me know now. So I stop liking him. She's like, okay, I don't, yada, yada, yada.
Mhm.
So through time, I continue to like him. And I remember we went and rode scooters one time and he asked her to ride with him.
Like the razors.
Like downtown scooters. Like you go downtown and the lime scooters you get on.
What? Are they like the ones that are on campus here?
Yeah.
Those electric scooters.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But you go downtown and like drive through the buildings and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But mine had died and his friends had died. And so we get in my car and Caleb asks Emma to ride around with him for a little bit. And I was like, and so his friend kind of gets pushed onto me. And it was like, just hang out with him. Just hang out with him.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking bitch.
Emma,
Right?
you skank.
Yeah. And so I'm like, all right. So like, honestly though, I feel like I dodged a bullet because come to find out, Caleb was a whole ass controlling man. Boy. He was very controlling. And I wasn't really, I'm glad I didn't end up with him. But his friend I started talking to. And one night we all went to, that dream I had, it came true. Where they kissed in front of my car, it comes true.
Okay, Miss Prophet.
Yeah. Like I get a lot of deja vu. And it's like, I'll dream about it and then it happens. And it's really
Oh,
weird.
yeah, that's deja vu.
I hate it.
Deja vu?
It happens a lot.
My deja vu is always insignificant.
I'll dream about it and then I'm having deja vu right now.
My deja vu is like really specific instances where I'll be at a kitchen table
Mm-hmm.
and I'll be like taking a sip. What do you call like a gulp of Go-Gurt? Do you know what Go-Gurt is?
Uh-huh. A slurp.
A bite?
Slurp.
A drink?
A
guzzle of Go-Gurt.
Yeah.
It's yeah, it'll be like I'll have this very specific, vivid memory of me like looking down at my hand, and then I'll look up at other people, and they'll say something, but it's not something that matters.
Yeah, and it's
and then that'll happen.
specific
My deja
way.
vu is like random like that though. Like it's insignificant in that if you were making a Carson movie, it would not make it into the final screenplay.
Yeah.
Not even close.
Well,
Not even in the background.
my deja vu was the other day I was with Michaela and her grandma and like they're wrapping presents and I'm like, I'm having deja vu. And they're like, oh, da da da, continue talking. And I'm like, it's still going. Like it's still going. Make it stop. And it freaks me out. I feel like I'm not real. Like I feel like I'm living a different person's life. If that makes sense. Like
I guess.
living
I don't
on
disassociate that much, so I don't really have a frame of reference for it.
I don't know.
Not gonna lie.
But that's how it is. It's really weird. But anyway, so I had that dream about them. It comes true. And me and his friend's name is Nate. So Caleb and Nate and me and Emma, we go to the fair in my car. I drove a little Chevy Sonic. You know, mind you, it's just this little black car.
Yeah.
Right? And we bring a pin with us to get high off of. We go to the fair and we park in this like neighborhood across from the fair, so we didn't have to park on fairgrounds and pay. And we go ride a few rides, and Emma and Caleb go off and do their own thing, and me and Nate are like, well, you know, like, what do we do now? Like, we had no real connection. I felt like I didn't really like the dude. I was just there with him because of Emma and Caleb.
Yeah.
So we go back to the car. I'm like, let's just leave. So we go back to the car and get high. And, you know, it was one of the first times I'd ever been high. So I got
I believe zoinked is the proper terminology.
yeah. With my young hormones, I and a boy, and I was high. We decided to like make out, right?
Sure.
We had a whole make out sesh, music going, whatever. So we get in the back of my seat and we're like, how about we just fuck outside of some random person's house in my car? We're high off our ass.
Sure.
You know, he takes his shirt off. I don't remember much from that, but I remember the cops showed up.
Oh.
And he's hurrying to put his shirt on, right? And it was a cop giving a ticket to another person that had parked in front of me because they parked in front of like a driveway. And so we're like hiding, right?
Yeah.
Not soon after, Emma and Caleb come to the car. Right? And we didn't really like do anything yet. So we're just like in my trunk with the seats down. The seats are down.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like this kind of bed, whatever. And Emma, we're high. So Emma like drives us to like this. It's like IHOP, but a knockoff version of IHOP.
Yeah.
By the fair. And we park.
I think they call it Waffle House.
It wasn't Waffle House. It was
Denny's.
like an apple, not apple barrel, but a apple something.
What?
I don't know.
Okay.
But I remember Emma and Caleb were in my front seat, and he fingered Caleb. I mean,
what?
Caleb was fingering Emma in the front seat of my car.
Okay.
And meantime,
you're not driving your own car?
No, I was high.
Okay.
And Emma hadn't been at the time.
Yeah, my
so.
bad. I didn't realize you were a dork. Okay.
And so,
no, I'm in Little Miss. I can only drive summer.
well, I was young too. And so we decide to fuck while they're still in the car. And I remember he had condoms, and they were flavored condoms, and it was like strawberry and
How did you
orange,
find out they were flavored?
You could smell them.
Smell? You could smell the condom?
Like when you open it, you can smell it.
And you know it was
like
flavored?
He told me, and I was like, anyway, he didn't know how to put it on. I remember putting it on for him, and he was like, I remember it hurt, and I wanted him to stop, and I was like, okay, like he was heavy on me, right, and it was hot in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, I need you to stop. Like, I need you to stop, like, right now. And he wouldn't stop. And I, like, called out for Emma. And then she goes, guys. And he stops. And, like, an ambulance drives by. And I, like kind of move a little bit. Or I was trying to move. And, he's like, oh, I thought that was the cops or whatever. And then Emma and Caleb were like, we're going to go in. So they decide to go into the breakfast place. And he finishes. And then we go in. And I played it off like everything was fine.
So when you stopped, what was happening? Was it just like, was he just sitting there like on
like
you?
He just stopped, like while he was in me, just like stopped, and like because we heard an ambulance going by and he thought it was the police or something. So Anyway, it was a scary moment, and we went in and ate. And I remember there was this old couple staring at us, and I was like this the whole time. Like, trying not to show my face, because I was still high, too.
Yeah.
So, that was my first time. Not very fun. But after that, I just kind of didn't really care about it. I didn't feel like I had any purity left. So I just kind of threw it away.
I don't think purity is something that can be taken. Because
But I was the one
purity,
who got high and put
purity
myself in that
exists.
situation.
Purity exists as an abstract concept anyway. And what purity is it's a self-regulated belief.
Mm-hmm.
It's a self-regulated self-esteem based idealization of yourself.
But it's also something.
There's no situation in which somebody takes purity from you. And I'm not saying that like it's not real. I'm saying it in the sense that the idea that a man can take something away from you that makes you pure is misconstrued because you are the same as you were.
Yeah.
You are Jordan with a shitty sex experience with a shitty guy.
Yeah.
That's not less pure.
Well,
that's just Jordan with mediocre sex encounter with subpar male.
Well, like when I got with Noah, I wasn't ready for it, but I did it anyway with him. Because I was like,
And Noah was your first love?
My first love, yeah.
And so was it the type of love that you
eventually I loved
convinced
him,
yourself to grow into? It wasn't a spark immediately?
It was a spark immediately, but it was like I wasn't ready for sex. I wasn't the relationship was not ready for sex, like us together. And it was like we kind of just like, I remember like it was one of the first times I was in his room. It was the first time at all I'd ever been in his room. And he was like, I want to have sex. And I was like, really? And he's like, yeah. And I was just like, okay. I didn't care anymore about my purity because I felt it had been taken from me. I felt like I'm like, okay, whatever. But there was an instance before Nate, with the girl.
Mm-hmm.
You know those 3 girls I talked about when I was friends with Isaac, who I got drunk with?
Yeah, 8th grade friend group.
Yeah. One of the girls liked me. And I guess you could say Isaac wasn't my first kiss, but he was my first boy kiss, first thing I ever counted. Yeah. But with these girls, I got drunk. And one night, one of the girls was on top of me and kissing me. And I remember I was like, okay, I'm done. Like, I'm done. And I pushed her in the chest to get her off. And I moved to the right, and she threw up on my arm. Yeah. And then the whole rest of the night, she continued to throw up, and she had alcohol poisoning. And it was alcohol I had brought and mixed from my parents' cabinet. You
basically have the life of a Disney princess.
Oh, really?
So ideal.
Perfect. But like this, it was like I didn't want to kiss her. She was like, oh, this coconut will go great with pineapple, and we're drunk and we're young. And I'm like, I don't care. Why not? And we're like, let's learn how to kiss for when we have a boyfriend, when we're with a boy, when we're this and this and this.
It is a convenient
But
excuse.
Come to know, she likes girls,
Yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah.
But I remember I put myself in those situations where people could take advantage of me.
What do you mean put yourself there?
Like, I was the one who got drunk with them and didn't take up for myself and say I didn't want to do those things. I was the one who was like, okay, sure.
Well, you didn't even initiate it.
But also, I'm a curious person.
Sure.
So I wanted to know. But once it's happening, I'm like, oh, like that's really scary. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm done. And I don't have time to, I'm not allowed. I don't know. So I just have to accept it because I did it.
I think because we live in a consumer-based reality. And we understand most of our relationships, most of our encounters, most of our interests. We don't understand them as free-flowing desires. We understand them as products and as currency and as transactional. And I think I had, when I was a senior, specifically, I was really ugly when I was young in high school.
I feel you.
And I was pretty for a very long time before that. And I don't mean super pretty, but like, I mean, I was fine. I'd look completely fucking fine. And I was funny and smart and all that shit. And then around like 9th grade, I got insane acne.
Puberty hit.
Yeah. It was, I can show you later. It was genuinely bad. It was like, I think it was maybe like 20 to 25% of all of my pores were zits, which is, and it was cystic, and it was huge, and it was really bad.
My sister went through a phase like that.
Yeah, and so
Or her
like,
skin did, not her as a person.
Yeah,
You know what I mean.
I get you. My my formative teen years were very much spent with that. I'm growing up within that consumer, that transactional idealization, and this sexual fetishization, and particularly the sexual obsession that's instilled in young men. And when I was 17, I started to the acne started to fade, and I was slightly less skinny. I didn't have a perfect body or anything, but I was relatively skinny, and I was pretty fit, and I was, I feel like my personality's solid, and I'm starting to not be completely fucking hideous.
Yeah.
And people want me again. And I entered an objectively slutty period where the transactional idealization started becoming transactional realities. And I actually didn't sleep with anybody while I was in school. Like the entire time.
Yeah.
I did not sleep with anybody in high school, but I would have these encounters where I would I don't know if you can still call them hookups when you're like going out and like making out with people and like steaming up windows in the back seat of a car, but it was everything but, because I still had this purity culture, like bell a dinging in the back of my head, like you still gotta chill somewhat.
Yeah.
But it was still, I hopped into a very cruel and very mechanistic understanding of it, and I was flying around and using these people as, I don't even know if I can call it gratification, because there's not satisfaction that comes from it.
Mhm.
There's just, it's you do what you think you're supposed to do, and you do what you desire, like, for a very brief moment.
Yeah.
That like overwhelming horniness right before you do it, and then you're like, oh, never mind. And I think that's kind of similar to what you're talking about.
Mhm.
And then it would actually happen, and I would enter this state of like, okay, like we're good.
Yeah.
But there's just, you don't feel like, I mean, you're already somewhat vulnerable enough that you put yourself in this position,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
it feels almost rude to retract yourself.
Mhm.
And so you end up in this very you end up with a perpetual state of worthlessness that you only assume can be gratified by like the next better hookup.
Mhm.
And it's not, it's a rapid descent. It's a rapid descent, and you can't see the walls around you anymore, and you can't see the light above you from where you were falling, so you don't know you're falling anymore.
Yep.
It's a rough place to be in, to not know that you're falling, and also exclusively place the blame on yourself for being in the hole in the first place.
Yeah.
But the hole was unavoidable. You didn't put yourself in the hole.
Yeah.
And it's not a loss of purity. It's a loss of direction.
Mhm.
You don't lose purity, because your purity isn't in sexuality.
Mhm.
Your purity is in your interactions with your friends. I've seen it in real time.
Mhm.
Your purity it's when you're in the non-manic state of mom friend.
Mm.
It's when you are in the position where you're with a friend,
Mhm.
and that friend should be able to, logically, should be responsible enough that she can do her own fucking laundry and clean her dorm room. But we don't operate logically, and you know that.
Mhm.
And you know that via your purity. That willingness to be like, okay, fuck it. I shouldn't have to do this for you, but you need it.
Mhm.
I don't think you can call yourself impure while simultaneously having that sort of presence within you. So I don't think it's fair to say that your purity was taken, because I don't see you and see an impure person.
Yeah. I remember when my dad found out.
Mm-hmm.
My older sister had told him.
Yeah.
Which was such a betrayal for my older sister.
Yeah.
I mean, dang, really?
It's very much a read your diary moment.
Oh, yeah.
Flashback.
Well, yeah. I didn't know he knew, but he was down by the fireplace. And the whole day he didn't come out of his room. And finally he did, and he was like crying by the fireplace. And I kept asking him what was wrong, and he wouldn't answer. And then finally my stepmom was like, well, if you haven't noticed, he knows that you've done this with so-and-so and this and this. And so it's just kind of like, oh, my father knows. My own father, like, who thinks of me as like his little girl, now sees me as what I felt was disgusting.
And that type of situation should act as evidence that this purity shit isn't real. It's not. It's not quantifiable. It's not measurable. It's not reality. What it is it's a rejection of reality in favor of an idealized caricature.
Mm.
You know, you weren't changed. You weren't stripped of anything. It's not like your personality was taken. It's not like you suddenly became worse. It's not like you were suddenly cruel. It's not like any light was stolen, you know? It's this horrible expectation and these horrible restrictions that have been put on people to try to force them into artificial morality.
Yeah.
There was no genuine difference, not in any way that mattered, between Virgin Jordan and current Jordan. There's not. And the fact that there was no change in his eyes until he found out, until he was given that information, is proof of that.
Yeah.
Because nothing changed except for his own dipshit adjacent understanding.
Derogatory views.
Sure. It's not real.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah. Which kind of it drove a hole in me and my dad's relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because that happened, I was scared to go to my dad after that, after anything. Like, I was scared to share with my family anything that happened in my life or was sad or scared me, or, you know, also, you know, with the fights that went on there at that house, it was very, like, I didn't feel safe opening up with my emotions because anything I said was turned around on me and used as, like, leverage for the next conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was what happened with Nate. But
So do you think the majority of that impact, the after effect of losing your virginity, does it stem from that idea of impurity, or do you think it's somewhat from watching your own? Our parents' relationship is essentially our most foundational teaching of love. And your foundational teaching is watching an implosion. It's watching the descent from love. It's lovers to enemies, you know? And do you think some of that after effect is knowing your parents' lack of love, to put it gently? Did you feel some sort of unseen pressure for it to be different, for your love and for your sex life to be gentle and to be loving and to be kind?
yeah,
And the fact that it wasn't felt familiar in a tragic sense.
It was like, I viewed love, and I viewed, like, I had this whole movie outlook on how I wanted my life to be with love. I wanted to find somebody, and when I was ready, I wanted to fall in love with them, get married, have kids, things like that. But I wanted to find my one, my only, and that's that. Like, I don't care about anybody else as long as I find my person. That's who I'm going to love, and I'm going to show all my love to, and from there on. I learned how to love from my mom. Out of everything my mom has been through, she showed me and my sister what love was. Like, she has been with us through thick and thin. So she is, was my person for a long time. But, that relationship between us kind of got broken, I guess. We've had a lot of ups and downs, but now we're closer than we have been.
Mm-hmm.
Back to loving people, I feel that I don't like. What was your question again? Like, do I
was just wondering how much of it stems from this feeling of the loss of purity and how much of it stems from, oh shit, it's happening to me now.
Yeah.
My parents' situation
Yeah,
might be mine.
that was something I was really scared of. I didn't want to go in the same path my family had, my parents had. It was a fear of mine. If I were to sit here and lay out all my fears, it would be second on the list. I don't want to be like them. I want to have a family that is loved and doesn't have all these problems in the background. It's not like drama filled.
Mm-hmm.
It's just love. Pure, simple. But I felt like I screwed it up. And I felt like I had to live with it. And I either had the chance to start over and fix it, or, just kind of do whatever. And I felt like there was no fixing it. So I chose to do whatever. I felt like there wasn't, like, you can't.
You mean no fixing the relationship with your dad? No fixing the fact that your first time isn't going to be the only time? Was it that reality that there wasn't just going to be a one and done? There wasn't going to be a...
I wanted my dad to know I'd have sex when I'm presenting him that I'm having a baby. Like I want him, that's how I envisioned that. I didn't, not so young. It wasn't, I was junior in high school. I felt like I was young.
Somewhat. Not super young. That's like 17.
Yeah. But, I mean, I don't know. It just wasn't what I envisioned. And I felt like I just made everybody disappointed with me. And I wasn't ever going to get... I no longer had the status of being a big sister, of being a good role model, because that's something I really strived for, like with my family. Like, how you were talking about earlier, how like you wanted to protect your sisters and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I remember there was a time when my stepmom was drunk and my little sister spilled something in the kitchen, and she comes in and just starts screaming at my little sister and is like, why the F would you drop that? Why, pick it up right now, this and this and this. If you don't, this and this and this. And I'm like, come on, dude, she just spilled something. Like, it's a simple fix. That's that, And, I told my little sister, I'm like, just go upstairs. Like, go upstairs, I'll get it. It's late. So I'm like, I promise it's okay. I'll get it. I get it. She goes upstairs. And like, there were many times where I'd tell them just to go to the room, shut the door, and I'd lock it. And like, I'd be fighting downstairs with Dad and Jamie.
See, I was too good at it to have to tell them, because it wasn't, the way that I described it made it seem like it stopped when I was a child. I was doing it well into high school.
Mm-hmm.
I think up until I moved out full on, like as an 18-year-old. But it shifted from that type of corporal punishment to there would be so many instances of picking fights of them picking fights
Nagging.
and them nagging. And you could tell very clearly when they're in position to they're about to start grounding, they're about to start taking things away.
Mhm.
And I became very talented at very subtly shifting blame, and then all of a sudden they forget that they're mad at they forget that they're mad at they forget that they're mad at and
Mhm.
it devolves into me getting like 2 to 3 hour lectures like weekly, sometimes multiple in a week. And I'm not exaggerating when I say 2 to 3
You
hours.
become
Like
the
it would
bad
just be
kid.
it would just be me sitting and they're ranting about the exact same things and they
Mhm.
just don't stop.
Yeah.
It has to be done. And it's also really important to remember that when I say that and when I bring up those examples, it's not because my behavior is it's not to say my behavior is good for me either
Mhm.
or good for you, because I don't know if it is admirable that
We're trying to.
I mean, it's almost like, are you familiar with the myth of Sisyphus?
Mm-mm.
Okay. So, very basic details. There is this man, Sisyphus, who pisses off gods, and gods are petty as fuck.
Mhm.
At least his gods are in his story. And these gods curse Sisyphus to perpetually roll a boulder uphill for eternity,
Mhm.
the rest of his days, which is forever. The man will live forever. That's part of the curse. And instead of succumbing to that sort of misery, and instead of being like, oh my God, this is perpetual torture, Sisyphus leans into it and he makes it his fucking mission to almost enjoy the struggle, if only in spite. It's like a fuck you, I'm going to do this because I can, and I'm going to enjoy this because it's my boulder.
Mhm.
It's my journey. It's my trial, my tribulation.
But now
I
I
feel
see
like
it as
we
my life.
I feel like we kind of force ourselves into that position, and there's a slight differentiation because we are fucking real. And there is not a motherfucker alive who wants to roll a boulder up a hill for eternity. It's an allegory. And when we try to force ourselves into that position and trick ourselves into this needs to be done, even in spite of myself, I think not only does it erode us, but I think it erodes the people around us, because I think so much of who we are is dependent on our interpersonal relationships. You know, so much of who we are is that mother-daughter relationship, a mother-son relationship, a lover-lover relationship, a sister-brother relationship,
Yep.
a father-daughter relationship. And so I'm not sure I see the value in committing to rolling the boulder up the hill when we understand that muscles get sore, and if sore muscles don't rest, it doesn't build muscle, it tears them.
Mhm. Brings you down.
You don't get jacked if you're perpetually sore and you don't rest. You get fucking hernias.
Yeah.
So, that said, I feel like we need to stop rolling the boulder for a second. And I think we need to divulge into something a little light. And so I know it may not be light because there's a lot of grief that follows this topic for the both of us, because we're both in very similar places right now. But forgetting the pain of right now and remembering what was, getting in that mindset, I want to hear about him.
Noah.
Yeah. You know who him is.
Him.
Just like you
Him.
know who her is for me.
Yeah.
You know.
Noah was the boy I looked for in the movies. He was, like in The Notebook.
Yeah. I like that movie a lot.
He was my man.
That was Noah in The Notebook too, wasn't it? Noah and Allie.
I think so, yeah.
I had a really big Rachel McAdams kick. She is my biggest actress crush ever.
Oh, I know. She's like,
no, we've talked about this, but she's so beautiful.
You think she's like the prettiest girl on earth?
No, I think she's the prettiest actress. No, she's
really
beautiful.
pretty. She's really pretty.
I've seen better.
I agree. She wouldn't be my favorite.
I've seen one better. She is incredibly beautiful.
Yeah.
Very big Rachel McAdams fan.
But okay, so Noah.
Actually, hold on. We're gonna keep going, but we are at 2 hours and 19 minutes. So I am going to split this into 2 parts. So we're gonna continue. But for those listening, come back next week if you want to hear about Noah. I appreciate you dropping in. I think you're going to be episode 3 too, because might as well. I feel like we still got a ways to go.
Thank you.
So, yeah, y'all can fuck off now. Bye. See you next week.